Hey guys, this is Simi. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 22nd of March, 2020. Well, talk about WrestleMania 30. I thought WrestleMania 30 is being aired on ESPN this weekend, so why not do a review of the show? The WrestleMania 30 was actually before we even started here with Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and we've never reviewed it. Next week is WrestleMania 32. Which I'm pretty sure, let me double check, pretty sure we never reviewed that show either. That was the first WrestleMania after we started the channel, and I don't think I was doing these full actual show reviews. Let me double check while we let more people jump into the live chat here. We got a couple of you in here, so let's talk while we wait for some more of you guys to jump in, and we'll see. Let's see. Regardless if we reviewed WrestleMania 32 or not, I'm going to do that review next week. I'm not going to re-review WrestleMania 35 because, well, they're also running this year's WrestleMania that same night. So, let me see. Let's see if I can spell it correctly first. WrestleMania 32. Let's see. Did we do an actual review of the show? No, we actually did videos recapping each match. That's when I was trying to be overly ambitious, and it was just a little too much. Because we actually get more views doing the full show reviews than doing a segment-by-segment review. You know, I'm still learning what I need to do and what I shouldn't do here with the channel and whatnot. And I think we've got a good groove going now. But with that, let's see who's here with us in the live chat to talk about tonight's, well, not tonight's, but what aired tonight, WrestleMania 32. We've got Wayne Montgomery, Clinton Davis, Justin and Riley, Jonelle Jackson, Angel Hernandez, Jeff Guevara, Kevin Gerhardt, Fully Clutch, Rodney Shepard, Angel Hernandez, Joe Decker, Redstone DMAC, Hercules 239, Slim Roberto, Stevens Beach City Gamer, and so many more of you with us here to talk about WrestleMania 30. Joe Decker says, you know, ESPN is showing this year's Mania. They are not. If you watch the show tonight, they made it perfectly clear, 100% clear. WrestleMania, 2-night event, April 4th, April 5th, on the WWE Network. They made that very clear with all them cutaway shots to both Tom Phillips and Corey Graves throughout this show, which that's something I did not like. I did not like when they would, after every segment, or should I say before every segment or match or whatever it was, before every match, they would send it to Corey Graves and Tom Phillips at the WWE headquarters. I didn't like that at all. I thought that was kind of meh. But with that, I'm also going to do something a little different than we normally do with our pay-per-view reviews. Because this is a retro review of sorts, I'm also going to give you some facts about the show as we go through. And I'll give you the Wrestling Observer ratings as well. I thought that would be something different and cool. So, one fact before we even jump into it. At this point, in 2014, WrestleMania came to us. I didn't even get the exact date. What was the exact date of WrestleMania? The 6th of April. By then, they'd only had the WWE Network as a thing for, 2 months? And they only had less than 700,000 subscribers subscribed to the WWE Network by WrestleMania 32 or 30 weekend. So that was an interesting stat that I thought I would bring to you guys. We also know, actually, I'll save this next one. Kevin Gerhardt, I just said no. ESPN is not airing this year's WrestleMania. They're going to air WrestleMania 32 next week, WrestleMania 35 from last year the following week, the same night as WrestleMania Night 2, but that is going to be on the WWE Network. And Tom Phillips and Corey Graves let us know about 5 times tonight. WWE Network. Order it now, free for new subscribers. So, also I do got to say, they didn't do the pre-show match. which was I don't even have it right here. I thought I wrote it down. Hold on. I know it was a tag team match. It was the pre-show match for WrestleMania 30 was a fatal four-way for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It was the Usos successfully defending against Los Matadores, Diego and Fernando with El Torito, the Real Americans, Cesaro and Jack Swagger with Zeb Coulter, and Ryback, Curtis Axel and Ryback. That was the pre-show match that they did not air on the ESPN, what did I say? ESPN broadcast. And also, Michael Cole told us on Friday, he said, hey, WrestleMania 30 will air in its entirety on ESPN. And that wasn't true because we did not get the match with the Shield. It was the Shield defeating the team of Kane and the New Age Outlaws. And we did not get the Vicky Guerrero invitational match for the WWE Divas Championship, where we saw AJ Lee successfully defend the title against Alicia Fox, Brie Bella, Cameron, Emma, Eva Marie, Layla, Naomi, Natalia, Nikki Bella, Rosa Mendez, Summer Rae, and Tamina Snuka. Oh, and Oksana. I think Oksana's the one that tapped out to AJ Lee when she won. So they didn't air this in its entirety, and they did not air it in order because they aired the John Cena Bray Wyatt match second. And actually, before that should have been the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and they aired that after the Brock Lesnar Undertaker match. So they did some stuff out of order, which I don't understand why they did it out of order. Maybe I have a theory. I don't know if it's true. Could be WWE's all, we need a down match after a big match before the main event. Because if you remember WrestleMania 32, they put the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal right before the main event as like the crowd got really hyped for that last match, which here would have been Brock Lesnar Undertaker, and then they're like, oh, we need a match to just calm them down before the main event. So I don't know. We'll see. But the broadcast here tonight actually kicked off with Hulk Hogan coming down to the ring. He opened up the show, made his infamous, I guess you could say, mix-up when he called it the Superdome instead of the Silver Dome. Fans let him know that he messed up. He joked about it and whatever. Stone Cold Steve Austin would then come down, talk about how this has never happened, them being face-to-face at WrestleMania. Stone Cold Steve Austin said that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to be in the same ring at a WrestleMania, and it may never happen again. And then The Rock would come down, and I felt, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you didn't think the same thing, but I felt that The Rock's pop, when his music hit, was louder than Austin. I thought the crowd was louder when Rock came out than when Austin came out. JSN. No, Hogan messed up because, yeah, he said Silver Dome and it's a Superdome. Sorry, I read your thing wrong. So The Rock came out here, talked about how he's had big WrestleMania moments with both Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But tonight is about the new generation, the new crop of talent, the current WWE superstars on the roster. The three of them laughed and drank some beers together. This is a great, great WrestleMania moment that has lived up to the test. It's just lived up. Every year they replay this before WrestleMania when they do like the WrestleMania moment packages and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I thought this was great when it happened, and I felt like it was still really great tonight. Slam Hub Wrestling has a great question. He says, will there be ratings for WrestleMania 30 on ESPN? I mean, if it does a good rating, it'll pop. As long as it is within the top 150 cable shows for today, Sunday, March 22nd, then we'll know how well it did on the ratings. If it wasn't good enough to be in the top 150 shows of the day, then we won't know. But I feel like it will be good enough. And so hopefully sometimes we don't get the Sunday ratings till Tuesday. So hopefully by Tuesday, we'll know what this show did. And I'll bring you guys either a report on the website or even a video on our channel as far as how well this show did in the ratings for, current times. So they go to commercial. When they come back, they actually sent it to, yes, William Montgomery were taking text. They actually sent it to Tom Phillips and Corey Graves at the, I guess you'd say, WWE headquarters. And I was like, no, I do not like this. And I didn't like it throughout. I thought, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to hype you up for every match. But most of these matches had video packages anyways, so they didn't need to do that. And this match that we had here, first match of the night, Daniel Bryan, Triple H, one of the greatest WWE video packages of all time. That Daniel Bryan monster video package, I mean, phenomenal. Now, most people already know this, but this was not supposed to be Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. Originally, the plan was Triple H versus CM Punk. And Triple H was going to lose to CM Punk. Now, I don't know if CM Punk would have also had the same stipulation as far as if he beats Triple H, he goes to the main event. I don't know if that would have been a thing, but the rumor and innuendo has always been it was supposed to be Triple H, CM Punk. CM Punk did not want to face Triple H again at WrestleMania because he felt that last minute Triple H was just going to say, oh, never mind, guy, I'm taking the win and screw him over. And that's when CM Punk walked out. It was like the day after Royal Rumble. And CM Punk said, I shouldn't be the one getting the rub at WrestleMania. It should be somebody like Daniel Bryan. And then what happened? It was somebody not like Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan. Also, if you do not know, Triple H had his special entrance, and the three women that accompanied him out on the stage were Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss, all just starting out really in NXT at the time, and known by the NXT fans, but not too known, to be completely honest. This was actually the third consecutive year that Triple H used NXT talent for his entrance. He had in the past used Solomon Crowe, who was now known as why did I just blank on his name? Sami Callihan. He had used Hideo Itami. He had used Finn Balor, and he had used Enzo Amore, all in his different WrestleMania entrances for just the random cast members. So this is one of my probably favorite WrestleMania matches, at least in the last decade. And I've always thought that this match was really, really, really good. Michael Cole was pushing really hard that a win for Daniel Bryan will be one of the biggest upsets in WrestleMania history. And in hindsight, it wasn't even the biggest upset. Bryan had gray furry boots and everything, and I thought these looked very weird. Not sure exactly why he wore those, but to me, this match felt like Triple H's version of a Ring of Honor match. Daniel Bryan got to go out there and do things that we hadn't really seen him do much of before in WWE outside of his matches with CM Punk. Match started off with tons of chain wrestling encounters, but at a much slower pace than you would think of a Ring of Honor match. Bryan took over at one point with a diving DDT off the apron, then a top rope dive through the ropes. Triple H didn't do a ton of catching here. Hunter then cut him off, and they teased a pedigree on the announce desk, but instead, Hunter dropped Bryan's bad arm across the desk and tried to get a count-out victory. JBL, who was better here in commentary than he usually was disgusted by Triple H's tactics, which was kind of a shock to me because I didn't remember that. He said that targeting Bryan's leg and arms early were a decoy to Bryan's other injuries like his shoulder and whatnot. Hunter then hit a cool hammerlock suplex on the apron. Stephanie was out there on the floor as well, being as annoying as possible, but only during the down segments, never overshadowing the action in the match, and I appreciated that. Triple H then used a crossface chicken wing, which was actually one of Daniel Bryan's finishers when he was in Ring of Honor. They then transitioned that into a regular crossface. They did some more chain wrestling here at one point. Bryan then cut Hunter off and hit some rolling German suplexes. Excuse me. Hunter then cut him off and hit a tiger suplex, which I don't know if I've seen Triple H do that move before or at all after. So you can really see Daniel Bryan's input in this match with some of the moves and stuff that they did do. Going forward, Bryan hit a running dropkick in the corner when Hunter turned inside out for a lariat. Stephanie was a great cheerleader at this point, roaring and hollering after every time Hunter hit a big move. Bryan tried the diving headbutt, but Hunter caught him with a knee to the shoulder and went back to the crossface, trying to pop that shoulder out of socket because we know leading up to this, Triple H had injured the shoulder of Daniel Bryan. Stephanie didn't waste, I don't think, a single moment of that 25 minutes. I thought this match was fluid and just really good throughout the entire thing. And I do see we had some stream issues. I do apologize for that. We should be back up now. And with that, Dave Meltzer did give this match a 4.5-star rating. With that, after the match, Stephanie slapped Daniel Bryan across the face, and Hunter attacked him from behind, smashing Bryan's arm with a chair and with the ring post. So next up, we were supposed to see the Shield in their first ever match at WrestleMania against Kane and the New Age Outlaws. I guess they didn't air this match. I don't know why, but it was a squash anyway. It went less than 3 minutes. The Shield won. They hit the Shield powerbomb on both New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, and the match got a 1.5 stars in the Observer. Moving forward, we were supposed to get the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal here. That was moved to later, so next we got Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. This match also just recently aired on SmackDown this past Friday night. So again, they aired a video package before this. They also had Tom Phillips and Corey Graves talking about this match beforehand. And I had somebody when I said, the Daniel Bryan Monster Story or video package, one of the best WrestleMania packages ever. And someone said, well, what about the one for John Cena and Bray Wyatt? And my thought was, well, I see it now. It was really good. But the reason I wouldn't call it one of the best WrestleMania or even WWE video packages of all time is because before watching it tonight, I had completely forgot about it. And when you forget about something, that means it can't be considered as one of the best, because you got to, for at least in my opinion, for something to be considered one of the best, whether that's one of the best matches of all time or one of the best video packages of all time or one of the best segments of all time, it's got to be something that you remember and never really forget about. Mr. McNutt brings up the greatest WWE video package of all time, in my opinion. My Way. Rock Austin, WrestleMania 17. That is probably the greatest WWE video package ever produced. Going forward, like I stated, Bray Wyatt, John Cena. I've always liked this match. I always thought it was really well. I thought that they actually told, some say that it was a bad match. Well, yeah, the wrestling in the match wasn't the best, but they told a phenomenal story throughout this entire thing. Bray Wyatt got a special entrance. Mark Crozer in Scarecrow makeup with his band played his entrance. And from the get-go, the story was Bray wanted Cena to become violent, or should I say, ultra-violent. Telling John, let your real self out, John. Show the people what you really are and who you really are. Excuse me. So the match started with just a stare down. Bray Wyatt was trying to play mind games early. He had Harper and Rowan there with him, and John Cena's just looking at him like, are we going to do this or what? Sorry, I just lost my spot in my notes here. They really, like I said, they really didn't do much early. There were many long periods of pausing with Bray trying to play mind games. The biggest spot of the match was Cena going for his 5-knuckle shuffle. But when he came off the ropes, Bray was up in the crab walk, and Cena freaked out and kind of froze in his steps. Crowd here had a hard time really figuring out exactly how to react. Cena tried a top rope leg drop, but Bray caught him with a powerbomb for a near fall. Fans here saying that Bray Wyatt, we have the whole world in his hands song. Or he has the whole world in his hands. Another big spot where Cena teased a dive onto Bray, then jumped outside onto Rowan and Harper instead. He then picked up the steps and smashed Bray through them, kind of out of frustration. Bray then kicked out of an AA. Harper hit a kick to Cena from the apron. Here then Harper fell down after he threw a kick to Cena. Harper teased interfering, but Cena speared him through the barricade. Not much of a pop for this move here. Didn't really seem like the crowd saw what happened. It really seemed like the crowd, I don't want to say wasn't into this, but wasn't sure how to react. Because remember at the time, Cena was still getting a lot, and I mean a lot of boos. He was the babyface here, and Bray was the true heel. There was a goofy spot where Bray Wyatt brought in a chair, and the announcers are like, Bray, if Bray uses this, he's going to get disqualified. And John Cena was down at this point, and Bray just throws the chair over to Cena and said, use it, John. And Cena eventually looked like he was going to use the chair, but instead of hitting Bray with it, who was just standing there like this on his knees waiting for Cena to hit him, he hit Rowan, who had jumped up on the apron. Then in a kind of a clunky little spot, Bray grabbed Cena for his sister Abigail, but Cena muscled out and hit an AA to pick up the victory. I felt like the match itself wasn't all that great, but the story that they were able to tell in the match, continuing from what they were building off of leading up to this, was really, really good. Dave Meltzer ended up giving this match a 2.5-star rating. So then next up, we got The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. And we all know what happened here. The Undertaker took his first loss at WrestleMania. And that man in the front row with that shock became one of the biggest wrestling memes of all time. So, a couple little stats and facts here about this match. Lesnar had to carry most of this match because like a few minutes in, Undertaker suffered a concussion. Undertaker recently stated on the Broken Skull Sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin interview on the WWE Network that he blacked out basically and doesn't remember most of this match. He remembers starting the match and then waking up at the hospital. So he really doesn't remember much of any of this match. Now, the reason Brock Lesnar picked up the victory here was because Vince and Undertaker both really felt that this was it for Undertaker. He was going to lose to Brock and officially retire. And well, we know 6 years later, he's still going. He's facing AJ at WrestleMania. Also, another very interesting thing to note about this match is the referee of the match was Chad Patton and actually didn't know that Lesnar was winning until he actually counted 1, 2, 3. According to Dave Meltzer, Chad Patton was never told that Lesnar was the winner of this match ahead of time. A referee generally knows the finish or what the finish is, but in this case, Patton was apparently left in the dark. In the original airing of the match, Patton indeed renders the count as he's instructed to do because you're always told, hey, if someone doesn't kick out, just keep on going. The bell doesn't ring at first because he wasn't sure to signal for the bell to ring, and then it eventually does. It would later, in later releases of this match and whatnot, they did dub in the bell sound as soon as the match does end. Many fans in the upper level of the Superdome thought that was a botch, especially when a 21-1 graphic accidentally appeared before the match ended. Patton then signaled to the timekeeper after seeing that again after the match, knowing, okay, this is the real finish. Ring that bell. Yep, it's over. So there's a lot of mass confusion towards the end of this match because the referee, for some reason, and we still really don't know that reason, was never told Brock's winning, Undertaker's losing. So, with this match, the match started off where Taker was knocked out quickly after 2 F5s. Then Brock hit a third, and the ref dropped down and counted 1, 2, 3, like I stated. There's not much to really talk about in this match. It was a long match, but there wasn't much that really happened, if I'm being completely honest. Like I stated, the referee was very confused. You can tell that on television watching it. They have tried to kind of edit all that confusionness out. Like I stated, now the bell rings immediately, even though it didn't live. I think the match went roughly about 15 minutes or so. When you watch it in just its entirety without the commercial break that we got tonight and everything. After the match, the crowd was chanting Undertaker's name. Undertaker, like we stated, was knocked out at this point, so he really didn't know how to react. He did have that one moment where he was kind of like on his knees in the ring and was just like soaking it all in. Eventually, later on in the night, the number one trend on Twitter was "Thank you, Undertaker," as many felt that, well, if Undertaker lost, probably retiring. Dave Meltzer ended up giving this match in the Wrestling Observer 1.25 stars. Then, on the broadcast tonight, we got the Battle Royal, the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Like I stated, this match was actually supposed to take place second after the Daniel Bryan, third after the Daniel Bryan Triple H match and after the Shield versus Kane and New Age Outlaws match. For a Battle Royal, I thought this match was fun. Brad Maddox was actually in the match. At the time, he was the Raw General Manager. So it was funny. There was a line where I think it was either JBL or Lawler that said, because Michael Cole goes, "Oh, and we have the first elimination. It was Brad Maddox." And they go, "Brad Maddox?" He's like, "Yeah, the Raw General Manager." And it might have been Lawler that goes, "No, I think it was JBL where he said, 'Oh, the General Manager just putting himself in this match.'" So early on, 3MB were working together pretty well. They ran wild for a bit before they were all three thrown out by Mark Henry. Big Show then came up from behind and dumped Mark Henry out of the match. Miz, who to me was almost unrecognizable because this is when he kind of like grew his hair out a little longer and it was more like slick back flowy. So at one point he was like up against the ropes like this, taking punishment. And I go, and you see him from like the side, like kind of like this angle. Right? And I'm like, who is that? And then they go, "Oh, the Miz taking some punishment." I go, "That's the Miz?" Then they show him from the face first. And I go, "Oh, I forgot when the Miz had that weird haircut." So Miz somehow managed to look even less athletic than normal in this match. Fandango eliminated a Big E from the apron. Then he danced on the apron and was eliminated himself after getting clobbered with some forearms by Sheamus. Everyone cheered for that one. Big Show press slam Truth out of the ring, then stood there just looking, menacing, and then cowered over Rey Mysterio in the corner. Nothing really came of that. Alberto Del Rio eliminated Goldust with an enziguri. Rey Mysterio then ran wild, hit a bunch of 619s, but when he tried to do it on Cesaro caught him, threw him over the ring, over the ropes, hit him with a bunch of uppercuts, and finally eliminated Rey Mysterio. Big ovation for Cesaro getting that elimination. Kofi Kingston went flying over Cesaro, but he landed on the floor with his feet still on the steps, so Kofi was allowed to run back in. He was never eliminated. Kofi then, Cesaro then eventually does hit him with a big swing, but then show chokeslams Cesaro. Sheamus would then knock out Kofi with a brogue kick. Then Del Rio would dump Dolph, laughing like a madman. Final four of this match came down to Big Show, Sheamus, Cesaro, and Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio locked in an armbar on Sheamus, and the two start going, and you hear Michael Cole, "Look at these two." The final two, the Big Show and Cesaro. Cesaro tried to eliminate Big Show a couple times with a clothesline, but he couldn't get him over the top rope. Cesaro then finally picked up the Big Show, scoop slam, WrestleMania 3 all over again, and tossed him over the top rope, out of the ring, bada boom. Cesaro wins the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. You guys say offline. I'm not having any issues on my end, so I don't know what's going on. It's got to be for you guys, because like I stated, I've got it playing here, the stream, so I can see that nothing happens, and nothing's been buffering or playing bad for me. It's all going good. So I don't know exactly. Jonathan Powell and Chris McNutt both saying buffering or an offline. It's fine for me. So after the match, Cesaro was getting his wits about himself after winning, and Big Show extended his handshake. Good sport there, Big Show. So then next up, we should have got, before the main event, the Divas title match. And I was wrong. It wasn't Oksana who tapped out. It was Naomi. Naomi tapped out. AJ Lee retained her championship, and we all know what happened the next night on Raw. Well, Paige would make her main roster debut and defeat AJ Lee for the Divas championship. Again, they didn't air this match, which is kind of weird with the whole we're pushing women and the women's evolution, so why not air the women's match, even though, I don't. Let me look at the participants. I think could be completely honest. The only women in this match that are still around, Naomi, Natalya, Tamina. And Naomi and Tamina, they're wrestling this year at WrestleMania. Going forward, we got the main event, which is Randy Orton defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against both Batista and Daniel Bryan. If you don't remember, Batista had won the 2014 Royal Rumble, and the fans despised him for it. They hated the fact that Batista came back and immediately won the Rumble and immediately got put into the WrestleMania main event. So Michael Cole made reference that Daniel Bryan's doing the yes chant, but he usually does it with two arms, but because his left shoulder is so messed up right now, he can only do it with one arm. So Bryan, at one point, was knocked out early, and Dave Batista and Randy Orton brawled for a little while before Bryan finally got back to his feet, dropping both heels with a missile dropkick off the top rope. The crowd hated Dave Batista more and more as this match went on, and more as he beat up Daniel Bryan. Bryan trapped Orton in a yes lock at one point when Stephanie and Triple H would appear. He came down, and they brought their, at the time, chosen referee, Scott Armstrong. So eventually Daniel Bryan gets laid out by Randy Orton. Randy Orton and Batista are ringside. Scott Armstrong goes in to check on Daniel Bryan, and Bryan kicks him in the face. Now remember, this was no disqualification, so Bryan can't get disqualified for kicking the referee in the face. Scott Armstrong gets kicked in the face, falls to the outside. Him and Stephanie and Triple H help him to his feet, and Bryan hits all three of them with a dive. Well, at one point, the fans start chanting for CM Punk. And I think this was one of the first times that the fans really chanted for CM Punk during a big match in WWE since he had left just a few short months before. So Batista and Randy Orton start working together here. They bring Daniel Bryan over to the announce table, and they hit him with a powerbomb RKO combo that is still a great-looking move to this day and still gets replayed in WrestleMania stuff all the time. Somebody didn't clear all the monitors far enough, though, and Orton came down and landed really bad on one of them, like back first. Orton was laying there for a bit and I think was bleeding from his back. Eventually, Orton recovered, and Batista worked him over as they strapped Bryan to a board. As well, the referees all felt Daniel Bryan's out. Daniel Bryan can't continue. EMTs, come down. Let's get him out of here. They did the Mick Foley just fell off the top of the Hell in a Cell spot, where they bring out the stretcher. They start to wheel him off. As they start to get him out of there, he says, "No, I'm good. I can compete. I'm jumping off if you're getting back into the match." So Bryan removed the neck brace, dragged himself off the stretcher, and got back into the action. He put both heels in the yes lock, but both times they were able to break out of it. Batista knocked Bryan out of the ring at one point with a spear, then turned it around and he got an RKO for a near fall. Batista then powerbombed Orton, but at that point, Bryan hit Batista with a knee strike and locked in the yes lock. After a short struggle, Batista would end up tapping out, and Daniel Bryan would become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and many were very shocked by this, that they put Daniel Bryan over in the main event of WrestleMania. The crowd went crazy. Daniel then went over and hugged Connor, as we all know now, the young man, the young Make-A-Wish boy that had a very big impact on Daniel Bryan, that we now have that was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame with the Warrior Award, and they now started Connor's Cure to help battle with leukemia and mainly like child cancer and all that. So I felt that this was fun to watch again. I haven't watched WrestleMania 30 in a couple of years, but like I stated, I felt it was fun to watch. And next week, we will also do a review of WrestleMania 32. If you don't remember, some of the big matches from that show were Undertaker versus Shane McMahon from Hell in a Cell, and the main event was Roman Reigns challenging Triple H for the WWE Championship. And with that, I do have a couple text messages that I do want to read here before we do wrap things up. This person says, Post-Mania, can off-season can work. I have no clue what that means. Person here says, what are your thoughts on the Chris Benoit documentary part 1? I can't wait to see part 2. Oh my God, let's talk about this for a second. So we all know Dark Side of the Ring is coming back for a second season on Vice. And season 1 was pretty great. Season 1 was just phenomenal. I loved almost all of the Dark Side of the Ring stuff because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. Some of the stuff, like the Macho Man episode, I knew everything already. But season 2 kicks off with the Chris Benoit story. And they put part 1 out on their YouTube. And it is holy crap. Well produced. Just everybody that participated, phenomenal. I didn't expect to see Vicky Guerrero. And some of the times when Vicky's talking, I almost cried. Because not only is this about it's the Chris Benoit story. But part 1 focused a lot on Eddie Guerrero, his addiction, his relationship with Vicky, and how his addiction affected that, his death, and how that really, really affected Benoit, and what they don't say it, but could have led to Benoit and what he did. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to give any spoilers for who else is involved and what other things are said, but there was some things that I thought I knew, but didn't know fully exactly how it went down with some of the guys telling the stories here. But it does start off, talking about Chris Benoit and where he started and some of the guys that he worked with early in his career that he grew close with. And it ends with, part 1 ends with, he hasn't shown up to work in 2 days. People aren't hearing from him. Vince McMahon calls the Atlanta PD and says, hey, we need a wellness check on one of our wrestlers, Christopher Benoit. He lives at this address. Can you just go to his house and see if everything's okay? And they get the word that Chris is dead. Vince holds the meeting with the roster to tell everybody, hey, we don't have many details, but we just got word that Chris, his wife Nancy, and his son, they've all passed away. And that's kind of where part 1 ends. And if part 2 is as emotional as part 1, I'm just going to say right now, get the tissues. I almost cried 3 times. Like, I felt my eyes start to get watery. I never actually, teared, but my eyes teared up. This person here in the text message just says, what happened to NXT TakeOver? What happened to it is it's not happening. They want to run as little as they can right now. They want to do as little as they can with still being able to put on as much as they can, if that makes sense. So with that, we're going to get SmackDowns for the next couple of weeks. We're going to get 205 Live for the next couple of weeks. We're going to get NXT episodes for the next couple of weeks. And we're going to get Raw and WrestleMania. They're all going to be pre-taped. Now with TakeOver, nothing was officially announced other than the women's ladder match, and only 3 participants were ever announced. So to be completely honest, it's not like they booked or on television told us all these different matches and are just now not giving them to us. So anything that they had planned can be pushed to later down the road. So I don't see an issue with that. Unlike WrestleMania, half the card, if not more, was already announced on television. Chris McNutt says, can WWE do an off-season, have wrestle? Yes and no. They can if they want to, but they're locked in to providing content to USA Network and Fox every single week. So we'll see how it all happens. Yes, Cole versus Dream looked like it could have happened. Looked like it was the direction they were going for the NXT Championship. Now, just push that to whenever the next takeover is, whether that's all the way back in Boston, SummerSlam weekend, or something sooner. We'll have to wait and see. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here to talk about WrestleMania 30, a little throwback, if you will. Next week, we'll be back again Sunday night to talk about WrestleMania 32 and give you some facts, give you I forgot to tell you, in the Wrestling Observer, that main event where Daniel Bryan won the belt, 4.5 stars. With that, next week, we'll bring you WrestleMania 32, bring you some WrestleMania facts again, and bring you the ratings from the Observer and all that other stuff. Again, I want to say thank you guys. Stefan Love, I want to see Kenny Omega versus Johnny Gargano. I don't know what to tell you, bud, but that ain't happening because they work for different companies. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me here to talk about WrestleMania 30. We'll be back live tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. And for anything else pro wrestling news-wise, keep it locked right here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Have a good night, guys.